Beep beep, what is up ninjas? My name is Samworld and we are here today to talk about whiteness. How to achieve whiteness in a mix, guys. And just like in real life, we can do it organically by getting fatter and just having a bigger butt, or doing it inorganically by injecting shit into ourselves like Kim Kardashian, and we will look good from certain angles. Like in stereo we might sound good, but from other angles we might not look so good. So when you collapse your mix into mono, it sounds like this. Now, having a wide mix has its pros and cons, obviously, guys. First off, the pro is that if someone's hearing with headphones, well, man, it's gonna sound amazing, but then the bad thing is that when we hear it in a club, it might not sound as great with a mono system. Now, with these 5 techniques today, guys, I'm gonna give you guys some organic ways to achieve wideness without messing anything up, messing the face up, and I'm also gonna give you inorganic ways that you can achieve wideness. But with these, I give you guys a power and you have a responsibility to go. Pros are, the sound will sound wider, but the bad is that it might sound phased out in mono. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the 5 ways that you can widen your mixes. Let's start with a good way of having a wide mix down, guys, and that is gonna be panning. Now, panning back in the day in the music of rock was a big thing. You know, we could hear guitars pound all the way to the left and then the drums all the way to the right, and that would create this more organic wideness as if you were hearing people playing in front of you live instruments. In dance music, however, which is the music we're making, you don't see panning done that much, because imagine a lead playing on the left and then the bass on the right. But how can we use this to our advantage? How can we use panning to create wideness? The first way we can use panning, guys, is by panning our drums. For instance, if we have a lot of drums that are just in mono that sound like this, well, you can kind of see that it doesn't really have much life. But just by panning individual drums to the left and to the right, not all the way, you can create stereo-ness without using the HAAS effect or without using a stereo enhancing plugin like the S1 Imager. Now, if you solo, let's say the clap, and you pan it all the way to the left, it's not gonna sound wide. But if you have it playing as a group, well, now that's when we're talking, and that's where we benefit from panning. Another way to use panning to widen your leads, let's say, is to duplicate your main lead and pan it hard left and hard right. Now, there is a big misconception here with this one, because a lot of people do it and they just realize, well, it's just going back and it sounds the same. In order for this technique to work, the left signal and the right signal have to look a little bit different. So you can choose to maybe make one darker than the other by adding a boost on the highs or distorting the right one more. The only way this one's gonna work is if the left and the right are different enough for your ears to kind of differentiate it, and it will sound wider to you. The second way to widen stuff, guys, to achieve a wide mixdown is gonna be to use stereo enhancing plugins like the S1 and the A1 imagers. The problem with these is that they're kind of like a fat transplant. If you don't have a stereo signal, aka you don't have any fat in your body, I'm not gonna have any fat to put in your butt. Same thing here. If you don't have a stereo signal on a sample that you're trying to widen, let's say you have a legit snare that's in mono and you try and widen it with the S1, it's not gonna do anything because there is no stereo information to widen. So these plugins are good to use on leads and certain things that already have some wideness to them. Thread carefully with these because they can mess up your mono compatibility, which again just means that your song sounds good in mono. And again, with a wide mixdown, well, that might be impossible to avoid, but you can try and make it as pleasing as possible. So thread carefully with the S1 and the A1 imagers that enhance. Third way to achieve wideness in your mixdown, guys, is going to be to use stereo audio effects that give you wideness, like ping pong delay, reverb, and choruses. Now keep in mind, with these techniques here, the ones I'm doing right now, number 3, you want to have a mono source material for this, because that's how you're going to create stereo feel to that mono material. One of my mentors was teaching me at the time, and he was emphasizing to me that you want a lot of your sounds to be in mono, and you want to use panning, tip number 1, and these stereo audio effects to create that wide feeling that you hear in music, rather than just forcing it with an S1 or the HAAS effect. Now, I did take it with a grain of salt, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did like the idea of it, but I still like to use the HAAS effect and the other effects we're gonna talk about in this video. But I'm not gonna lie, when I'm using ping pong and reverb to create wideness, my mixdowns tend to have a lot of power coming from the center of the mix. They feel a lot more fuller there than when I use the S1 or the HAAS Effect to achieve that whiteness. So with these ones, keep in mind, you know, you can use them, but right now in modern music, break the rules, have fun. But this number 3 is obviously going to be a cool way for you guys to try out. So when next time you're making lo-fi hip-hop, synthwave, or a drop for music and you want to add whiteness to it, why don't you try one of these audio effects and see if it helps. The fourth way to achieve a wide mix, guys, is to use the HAAS effect to achieve that. Now, I can already see people commenting stuff like you're messing up the phase, it's gonna sound like shit, you're fucking up your mono compatibility, and of course you don't think I know that. The HAAS effect is a technique that you purposefully use where you fuck up the mono compatibility, but at the same time you get that whiteness that you're looking for. Now, the HAAS effect should only be used on material that is fully mono, okay? It has one channel, there is no left and right. This is why we're giving up, again, that mono compatibility to get that sound to sound wider. Now, the way the HAAS effect works, guys, is you can see here we have a left and a right channel for, let's say, this clap. Let's call it a clap. Now, what the HAAS effect does is it moves the phase of the right channel a little bit forward. Now, right now, if you're probably looking at that, you're just going, you just change the position, Sen. Well, that's what phase means, a positioning. The left and right signal, when something's out of phase, the left and right signal don't play at the same time. They're playing like the left might play first, then the right all of a sudden. This creates that white effect you hear, because left and right are not playing at the same time, and the HAAS effect does that on purpose in order to get that whiteness. Now, when you collapse it into mono, it's gonna sound like bad, but that's literally what you're sacrificing in order to achieve that whiteness. You're literally sacrificing the mono compatibility of this sound in order to achieve whiteness in stereo. So keep in mind with the HAAS effect, you get something in return. It's not organic, it's not gonna be natural, like, you know, but it will help in achieving a white mix sound. And as long as you don't use it on important stuff, and as long as you don't use it on claps or stuff with a very hard transient, you should be pretty fine using it here and there. The fifth way and last way to achieve a white mix sound, guys, is to design your sounds from the get-go to sound wide. For instance, in Silent 1 here, you can see that we have one saw and it sounds like this. Now, the moment I take that retrig off and I put 2 saws, well, now I have stereo-ness. So knowing this, if you have a favorite preset there, why don't you just take off the retrig, put 2 voices, and then use the stereo knob up if it's not up to achieve whiteness in your sound instead of using the HAAS effect or the S1 imager to do it. Here in Spire, same thing. You know, we have a whiteness knob that we can use when we have more than one voice coming from a certain oscillator. In Serum, in order to achieve that whiteness as well, just go to 2 voices and make sure that the R phase is set to 100% rather than 0%. There are so many ways to design your sounds to be in stereo, aka if you're gonna make your own snares, then just make sure in Silent 1, when you're making a snare, you have 2 voices. So design your sounds to sound wide from the get-go so you don't run into problems. Alright guys, and that's gonna be the end of the video. And again, like I explained, guys, you cannot just expect to HAAS effect everything and achieve a wide mix. You have to use these techniques together in conjunction, and there's probably even more out there in order to achieve a wide mix that has mono compatibility. Now, if you're just trying to achieve a wide mix, like a super wide mix, like some of the guys have done, keep in mind that it might not have mono compatibility, but in return what you're getting is that wide mix down. Now, if you guys have any other ways of getting stuff to sound wider, any different techniques, let us know down in the comments below on how we could do them, guys. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you enjoyed this new format of videos that I'm doing, guys. Remember to leave tutorial suggestions down below that I can make for you guys in a fun way. And I'll see you next time, ninjas. You guys take care, and you guys have an amazing day.